Hello there! Today I want to talk about anxiety and authenticity. I've been reading Jean-Paul Sartre again, who proclaims that a human being's existence precedes their essence, which means that humans are born with no inherent meaning structure, with no essence. And it's up to us as humans to then create and find and construct our own sense of meaning, our own sense of purpose, our own essence. Now this task of creating our own essence or our own meaning structure is rather burdensome. And the existentialists hypothesise that most of the anxiety we feel is derived from the fact that we know deep down that we ultimately are in charge of our existence and that we ultimately create our own sense of meaning. And so every time we try and lean on somebody else's sense of meaning or borrow somebody else's sense of meaning or prescribe to a set of values that we ourselves didn't create, there's always a sense of unease down there because our sense of authenticity is calling us saying, you know what man, this is not your truth, this is not your meaning structure. You're just adopting the ideology of somebody else to avoid the burden of creating your own meaning structure. And we can understand why you want to do that because it's difficult to reflect inside yourself, inside your core, and figure out what it is that makes you tick, figure out what it is that's authentic to you. That's a really big mountain to climb. So because of the enormity of finding what our authentic path is or our authentic sense of meaning is, we tend to deliberately sidetrack ourselves with other activities which deviate us from our path. Work is a really good one. Drugs, alcohol, Facebook, going down a YouTube rabbit hole. All these things are really good ways of distracting ourselves from our ultimate purpose. So the reason I'm talking about this today is because yesterday I had the day off and I awoke with a sense of unease. That unease was a combination of two things, you know. One was that there was just a lot of domestic tasks that needed doing, and the other was that I hadn't made a video in a while, I hadn't been creative in a while, and I could feel that largely the unease that I was experiencing was my authentic self sort of calling me into being more creative, into producing some content, because that's something that means a lot to me. And so if I don't get creative, if I don't play some music, or if I don't make a video, I have this kind of ache in my stomach. Now, every single human being is subjected to that dull ache in their stomach when they're not following their true self, or when they're not following their creative self, when they're not doing what it is that they really want to do in life. So what I did yesterday when I had that feeling in the pit of my stomach was I took existential anxiety and I inverted it into neurotic anxiety. And I took that neurotic anxiety, man, I cleaned, I went shopping, I paid some bills, did the washing, I hung the washing out, I dropped the kids at school, man, I was so productive. So whilst it was productive in these real tasks that needed to be done, I was mindful the whole time that the genesis of my anxiety was not that all these household tasks needed to be done, but that I in fact hadn't been creative in a while. So the reason I want to talk about this now is because when you get that dull ache in your stomach, I think it's really important to recognise that it's not because the dishes haven't been done, it's not because the bills haven't been paid, it's because you yourself are probably not living authentically or creatively, and that you need to answer that call, or at least acknowledge that call. So what I did today, as opposed to all the cleaning and cooking that I did yesterday, was to awake with a different mindset. So I plugged in some guitars and I just wanted to play and just make some music as a way of reconnecting with a more authentic creative part of myself. Because I knew that anxiety was calling me into that space and I didn't want to discharge it into other activities. I wanted to actually hear it for what it was. So existentialists hypothesize that anxiety is actually calling you towards your authenticity. And so the challenge is that when we feel anxious, if we divert that into neurotic activities like cleaning, gambling, gratuitous sex, or whatever it is that you want to sort of discharge this energy into as opposed to living more authentically, you start to train yourself to dampen down that voice. And that means you become less receptive to that existential anxiety that's calling you into living with more purpose. And once you dull that voice down, it's very, very hard to hear it. And then you'll adopt any sort of meaning structure that society throws at you. You'll engage in any activity that society has on hand as a way of trying to exercise that anxiety you feel because you've forgotten what it was. And what it is that inner voice calling you into what matters. So I made some music today. I made a video today because these things matter to me, you know. And it's not really how they're received. It's the fact that I'm called to do it. And I ignored that call yesterday, which was good because there was a lot of things that needed to get done. But I refused to ignore that call today. So my challenge to y'all is, next time you feel that dull ache in the bottom of your stomach because you haven't been creative or you haven't been following your true path for a while, rather than running madly around the house and cleaning everything, do something creative, do something that means something to you. Answer that call, don't ignore anxiety. It's calling you into your authenticity. If you listen to anxiety, if you really pay attention to it, it's got a lot to say. Stay awesome, people.